Good evening. Good evening. How you guys doing out there? This Mike back again with the Soberheadz podcast, one day at a time. And tonight, I got a very special guest. I got James in the house, man, and I heard James' story before, and I'm quite sure that his story had definitely touched some people out there. James, thanks for coming on, brother.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
And James also has a podcast, and we'll get into that at the end of this segment. We'll talk about his podcast and what he has coming up with that. But James, tell us how it was, what happened, and how it is now, brother.
All right, Mike, again, thank you for having me, man. It's a blessing to be here, and by all means, I love sharing my experience, strength, and hope. Well, it all started in a small town called Manchester. That's where I grew up, backwoods, Beckerville, where my dad took me and my four brothers hunting, camping, fishing, doing what boys do. And my dad was the drinker. So every now and then, I took a sip of dad's drink. And, when dad was doing well, he drank Naughty Head. He drank Thunderbird. So I like to share that, hey, I had the best of both worlds. Back in the early 70s, they had these big fires out in Manchester, and we had to leave our home because the fires were approaching, and had to go out to Manchester, Ridgeway Road. My uncles, they kind of built that fire department on Ridgeway. We stayed with my grandma for a couple of days, and grandma always had that can of Sprite. Grandma always had the can of Sprite. It's like, why grandma always got that can of Sprite? Grandma always had the can of Sprite. Come to find out, years later, grandma was a big time drinker as well. I'm one of 6 kids, mother, father. I had an older sister. I got 4 younger brothers, and life was good. Life was real good. We moved out of Manchester into a small town called Lakehurst, where we were one of 2 Black families living in the center of town. And, we was boys, there used to be this little candy store called Sacco's, Sacco's was a candy store. We would go in there and we would steal and, go to the corner to the liquor store, and we would get liquor and beer, mostly beer. We would drink, just doing what kids do. Soon thereafter, my parents were talking about splitting up, and we wound up in Lakewood. I grew up in Lakewood. In 1970, we moved into Lakewood, and my mom told my dad, hey, you're either going to take care of your 5 knucklehead sons or you're going to get out. And my dad packed his bags and he bounced. My dad moved to the Sunrise Hotel, out there on Lexington Avenue in Lakewood. And soon thereafter, my mom basically turned us over to the township fathers. I grew up in people's homes like Jerome Cohen, the township judge, Michael Matter, Joe Dupree, Michael Cousins, Jeff Shapiro. These were all men that my mom put in me and my brother's lives, and we got involved in Biddy League basketball, Pop Warner football. We were in the PIC program, and I was still sipping. I was, getting a drink here, getting a drink there. I got involved in the football, and one of the guys was a superstar. Come to find out, they were smoking weed, and but I was a drinker, and as time went on, I was about 13, 14 years old. My mom sent me and 3 of my brothers down at the dining room table, and she said, like, hey, listen, I know you guys are drinking, and I just prefer that you drink in the house. Good alcoholic, Mike. Good alcoholic. Party at the Wallace house. Boy, we had some parties. We had some parties. We got to a point where I had a crew. My brother right under me had a crew. We was zone 1, and my brother right under me, they was called the drunk crew, trying to drink, and admission to the party was a 40 ounce of Cokie 900. A lot of people don't know about that Cokie 900, but we used to drink it by the case, and crazy parties, man, crazy parties, fights, dropping people off in front of their house full of liquor, and just crazy things. It got to the point where it was like, stay away from them Wallaces, We in the town, because we was drinking, man. We was putting it down. But time went on, and I'm growing up in Lakewood. Now I'm 14, 15 years old. I'm 6'4" in the seventh grade, and Lakewood is a basketball town, and I was pretty much forced to go out for basketball. I'm a black guy. I'm 6'4". I'm supposed to be this basketball phenom. Man, I couldn't chew gum and think at the same time. I got put out on the basketball team, 8th grade, freshman year of high school. They gonna make me this basketball player, and it just wasn't happening. It was this coach, John Handwork, man. I'll never forget this man. He was the same size as my dad. I'm 6'4". I'm a pretty big guy. My dad was 4'11". My mom was 6'3". So thank you, Jesus, for the height. If I was as small as my dad, I'd either be dead or locked up for life because I was crazy enough, But anyway, I get forced to go out freshman basketball team. Freshman basketball, Mr. Handwork is the coach, and we doing this drill called the skin drill. Now, be mindful, Mike. I'm a freshman in high school. I'm drunk, man. I'm drunk. I'm drinking in high school. I'm drinking before I'm drinking before 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm drinking. We go out for basketball after school, and we got to do this skin drill. And your coach stand in the middle, 2 guys, one on the right, one on the left. He throw the basketball down the court, and you're supposed to run after it and fight for this ball. Man, this man threw that ball down the court, man, and that other guy, man, he took off like a bat. I stood there. Well, I was a pretty boy, Mike. No, we ain't doing all that. You ain't stretching all that. And man, I tell you, that man grabbed me in my collar. And the next thing I know, I heard my name over my head. It sounded like Jesus Christ. It was our track coach, God bless him, Mr. Allen Ridley. He just passed a couple years ago. That man pulled me up on that track. He knew what was going on. He was like, Wallace, what's going on with you? Coach, Red was serious. He was military man, cock diesel. You see really in the high school, he was running the other way because he look at you hard. He give me 20 push-ups. I can't do 20 push-ups. You crazy. So, he got me involved in track, man. I thank God for that man every day, man, because I wouldn't have made it through high school without track, man. We were good, man. I was a part of the mile relay team. I was a high hurdler, intermediate hurdler, and, thank you, Jesus, still drinking, still partying on the weekends. But, I got a full scholarship to McNeese State University. On my way to school, I get a letter. They 48'd their star player. James lost his scholarship, 1982. My mom said it was time for her to do better for her family. My mom worked in the welfare office. We was a welfare family. And got teased about being on welfare, but my mom was delivering checks to our friends' parents. Like, what's going on? Crazy stuff, man. Crazy. So, my mom decides that she's going to go to college. She quit her job. My mom was going to become an x-ray technician, and I was going to become a mortician. That's what she said I was going to be. Didn't happen, Mike. Didn't happen. State college was right up the highway. We went to Mercer. Well, she went to Mercer. I just drove through Mercer. I dropped her off in the circle, man. And boom, I shot off to Trenton State, man. I partied all day with my friends. Came back, picked mom up, dropped mom off. She went upstairs to study, and James hit the bricks, man. I took that college money. I'm running around town looking like Mr. T. Got all this gold on, and I'm crazy, bro. Now I'm crazy. Now I'm walking the streets with a Doberman pincher. I got big feet, 15 size boots, gun in my back, just straight terror, man. Just straight terror. Drinking is out of control. Just a straight monster. My entire family left the state of New Jersey, and I believe it to this day. They left New Jersey to get away from me and my antics, man. Messing around, just wilding in the town. And the crazy part about it is I got away with a lot, man. I knew the police. The judge was like my daddy, my white Jewish daddy. I grew up in Lakewood, Jewish folks on one side of 9, black folk, white folks, Hispanic folks on the other side of 9. But, we all got along. I had a great class. I graduated in 82, and, man, I messed around and got into an accident on County Line Road, hit and run. Get to school the next day. The gym coach knew it was me in the accident in my car, and I got to go to court. Man, cops came to my house, handed me like 6 tickets. Not good, bro. Not good. I go to court, and here's the crazy part. I go to court. I got to stand in front of Jerome Gertner. He's reading off the docket, man, and he says, James Wallace. He looks up. He says, bailiff, Mr. Wallace, to my chambers now. The man adjourned court, Mike. He adjourned court. The bailiff took me in the judge's chambers, man. Judge Gertner got up from his desk, and he got right up in my, I mean, this was a little man. Judge Gertner was probably 5 foot, 6'4", man. I'm this big dude, you know, I'm probably about 290. He came from behind that desk, and that man got in my face. He said, what would your mother think? And bro, he railed into me for like 30 minutes, man. Bailiff takes me back out to the court. Boom, I get my fines. Here's the crazy part. I knew the bailiff. I knew the violations clerk, because they was husband and wife. One of my good friend's parents. The bailiff gave it to me. The violations clerk gave it to me. Oh, man, it was bad, man. It was bad. But you would think I would get it together. Nope. Now I'm working in the school. I'm a security guard in my high school that I went to. I'm working there. I lose my job there because of subcontracting. I leave there because I was working for the Board of Education. Now I cashed in my pension. So, you know, my family every year has a family reunion. And my sister, we always invite somebody to our family reunion. And my sister said, don't bring none of your knucklehead friends. I'm bringing my girlfriend. I said, I ain't driving to North Carolina with no ugly woman. And they pulled up in the Rent-A-Van to the school, picked me up. I opened that door to the Rent-A-Van, brother. All I saw was knees, man. Oh, my God. I harassed this woman from Lakewood to Asheville, North Carolina. Harassed her all week and told her that I just got out of a crazy relationship, Mike. Next thing I know, I'm washing drawers and bras, and they ain't belonging to me. I'm dating this girl, and my sister's telling her, don't mess with my brother. He's crazy. My mother's telling her, don't mess with my son. He's crazy. I'm married 32 years to the same woman, bro.
Oh, crazy.
32 years to the same woman, man. It's crazy. I gave that woman hell for the first 6 years of our marriage. I messed around. She put some rules on me. I broke those rules. And now I'm working in the school system, teaching young people how not to do alcohol, tobacco, and drugs. Now I'm teaching parents social skills. I'm working in the high school that I went to. So I'm working with my friends' kids. I'm working in the school-based program. My boy, Kamesh Haki, he hires me. He's like, look, man, I know you drink, but just bring it down. You know, I started a recreation in the apartment complex that I was living with. I was living with my sister at the time. Started the recreation program. You know, I called him Mr. Matter. He got a truckload of stuff coming over. All the kids had to do was keep the complex clean. We got basketball. We got knock hockey. We doing it all. We got our own recreation, you know. And the boss saw it. He's like, who's this guy? I mean, you know, made it local news. Who's this guy? And my boy was like, well, that's James. Yeah, I know him. We grew up together. So he invited me in for an interview, and I was like, yeah, you know, I'll think about it. Keep in mind, I'm collecting this money, you know, from my pension. You know, I got money. I don't need no job. And I'm drinking. I'm doing me, man. I'm dating my wife, and, you know, I'm just running this woman through hell. And Monday morning comes up, this man knocking on my door. I'm like, how can I help you? He said, you supposed to be at work. I said, I ain't filled out no application. I ain't do nothing. He said, this is your job. I'll see you in an hour. My girlfriend at the time, she said, he'll be there in 2 hours. What? Bro, I ain't even fill out an application, bro. This is how crazy my world is. So I get involved in the school-based program, and like I said, I broke those rules that my wife set on me, and she called my boss, bro, and she told on me. She said, James's drinking is out of control. You need to do something with it. Now, keep in mind, not only am I drinking, but I'm on that rock cocaine as well. I'm doing that rock, bro. I'm doing that rock. 64-ounce bottle, ashes in the cane, Cokie 900 in the bottom. I'm doing it. I'm flow up from the flow up. And, you know, she sold me out. So, you know, I did what the real addicts do. You know, I staged an argument, my last out. I staged an argument with my wife. The real addict knows what I'm talking about. You know, I started the argument. Jumped in the car, boom. I shut off the Lakewood, bro. I proceeded to smoke rock cocaine and drink moonshine from 2 o'clock in the morning to 12 o'clock the next day. I stopped at the 10th Street Golf gas station, picked up a pack of Newports, drove into Freehold where we was living, our first home together, and I walked in the door. I lived in one of them little bungalows, cottages, you know, little houses. You know, it was the living room, dining room, kitchen. I walked in the door. I noticed my work book on the dining room table. I asked my wife, where is my book on the table? She said, where you been? I did what the real addicts do. I've been thinking. I've been to the beach. I've been to the beach. I've been thinking. And she said, damn right. I think I know what you was doing. And I called your boss and I told on you. What? Bro, I gave that woman some choice words, went upstairs in our home, cleaned myself up, got in the bed. And I don't know why I share this, but I laid in that bed upside down. And today, I know that was the first time I thought about suicide, bro. Back in that car, getting on Route 9. You know, they call it Killer 9. They don't call it Killer 9 for a reason. I get in that car, find a bus or a truck, because my entire world, train at the train stop. Boom, what am I going to do? I took the next 2 days off to work because, you know, we know how to recover, you know. Took the next 2 days off from work, got to work. My keys didn't work in the trailer. Big note on the door, James, meet us at the White House. Uh-oh, that's the administration building. Went on over to the White House. My boss, my childhood friend, who was a certified drug and alcohol counselor at the time, the guy who got me the job, and our family therapist. And they confronted me about my drinking. And I did what real addicts do, bro. James, your wife called me at 4 o'clock in the morning. What's going on? I'm going to let you know what's going on. My father just died. My wife don't work. I'm working 2 jobs, blah, 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 blah. You know how it is. The justification, the storytelling.
So everybody else fault.
There you go. I went on for about 15 minutes. I went on for about 15 minutes. And here, right here. Now he understands. He gets it. That man said, James, you got 2 choices. You can pack your, you fill in the blank, because I ain't supposed to curse. You can pack your blank and you can leave, or you can go to rehab. What? Bro, I jumped up from that chair. I started cussing and I started crying and I started pleading my plight. That man sat in his high back leather chair and twiddled his thumb just like this. I went on for another 10 minutes. Now he gets it. Because see, it was my job to go to rehab. It was my job to take kid to rehab. It was my job to get parents in the parent. It was my job to fix the community. What? I was done, and my mind says, now he gets it. That man said, James, you got 2 choices, and Mike, they ain't changed. What you gonna do? I was the dope man. I lived in a house that I bought for me and my wife, lived in a house for 9 months, didn't pay mortgage for 8 of those 9 months. Wife knew nothing about it, drinking and doping it. I say I'm going to rehab, but my mind says, what are these $9 an hour counselors going to tell me about the disease of addiction? Bro, I was a certified prevention specialist. I was the only certified prevention specialist in the state of New Jersey without a college degree. Why? Because of 20 plus years of experience in substance abuse prevention and working with youth, working in school base. I decide I'm going to rehab. My director says, James, if you go to rehab, you're going to have to go to rehab and get the job done. You cannot go to rehab and do your job. My supervisor told me, James, if you want this rehab thing to work, you're going to have to tell the truth about your drinking.
Whoa.
Bro, train at the train stop. I get up. Director puts me in his car, drives me out to the company I was working for, the largest mental health agency in Ocean County at the time. Takes me by my hand to the counselor's office, shuts the door. First thing that woman asked me, she said, "You getting high, ain't you?" See, because we just talked about my drinking. And to this day, Mike, again, I can't tell you where the truth came from. I said, yes. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm smoking about $300 crack a day, drinking a fifth of Castillo Spice rum, and my Miller Genuine Draft was to never run out. If my beer ever ran out, my wife was going to pay hell." It couldn't have been the chicken leg in the freezer, but in that refrigerator, but it better be a case of MGD up in there. That's how I was living. She asked me if I wanted to get clean and sober, and what are these counselors going to tell me about the disease of addiction? I'm a prevention specialist, bro. I got a credential. There ain't nothing you can tell me about the disease of addiction. I know how the disease of addiction affects the family and the community. I know all of that. What you gonna tell me? I had to get humble, bro. I had to get humble. I get to rehab. She says, "Do you want to go to rehab?" I said, "I guess I got no choice." Took me to New Hope. I went to the old New Hope, the one that smelled like feet and booty. The one that
I heard about it.
Basement. Yeah, the ghosts in the basement. I go in the house. My director drives me back in the freehold. He's outside talking to my wife, and my baby at the time was 5 years old. I come out the house with a 6-foot duffel bag. I was in there about 15 minutes. You know the real addict, man. You know we know how to bounce when it's time to go. I had a 6-foot duffel bag packed with all my pretty boy clothes, my cologne, all my shoes. You know, it was all about the outside for me. It was all about looking good, you know. My director said, "Good luck," jumped in his Mercedes and drove off into the sunset. I put my duffel bag in the trunk of the car, put my family in the car. My kid is doing what kids do. Daddy leaving. Kid hollering in the back seat. I'm on my way to New Hope. My wife said, "You know where you're going?" I said, "Yep, just took a group of kids here a couple of weeks ago." See, we used to take kids there, a place like New Hope, Discovery Institute, you know, Hale House out in Trenton. We used to take kids to places like this. I was always a man with a plan, even in my drunkest estates. I asked my wife a simple question: "Are you going to be here when I get out?" See, because if she wasn't going to be there, I was going to have a plan B. And I was already ready for plan B because she was going back. You know, her dad had an alcohol problem. My dad had alcohol problem. You know, we both, our birthdays are 2 days apart. We both the second oldest. Ain't nobody give us jack. We earned everything we got, you know. And she said, "I love you. I'll do anything I can to help you." And with that being said, I pulled into the Circle of New Hope. Got my bag, pulled my baby out the car, go in, sit with the intake nurse. I get 100 on the test, bro. Probably the first 100 that I ever got. The first 100 that I ever got. Proud that I got 100. Next thing I know, I'm sitting in front of a counselor. He was deaf in one ear, couldn't hear out the other, pretty much yelling my story. But you know how we do. With a lot more drama, you know, with a lot more drama. I shared them what I just shared with you, you know. First thing he asked me, did I have any support? And with the arrogant pride that I can still have sometime today, I said, yes. My wife said she would do anything she could to help me. He said, "I'm going to give you this telephone number. You call home and give your wife this number, and I don't want to hear any of that lovey-dovey hubby crap. You get a number and you hang up." And you know I follow rules to the T. Called home, gave my wife the number. I said, "I love you, dear." She slammed the phone. Bang! Bang! Slammed the phone in my ear instantly, Mike. Instantly. I want to be a father. I want to be a husband. I want to be a brother. I want to be a son. I want to be all I ever wanted to be. Now Jody had just moved in. Now my mind playing tricks on me. Counselor tells me, "I'm going to send you out to that day room. I want you to find somebody who you think is working the program, and you ask them any questions you got."
Like that.
I'm trained to observe people. That's what I do. I observe human behavior. I sat in that day room and I watched. And it was this young brother. He was the president. And I got right up in this young boy's face. Well, now I'm about 160 pounds, 6'4". You know, that crack will do it for you. And you know, that drink without eating, you know, it'll put it on you, you know. And, you know, and I'm a pretty intimidating guy, or I thought I was. I got up in this young boy's face. I said, I'm looking down on him. I said, "Yo, man, how does this thing work?" That young brother stepped back. He looked up at me. He said, "The first thing you better get is a guide," and left me standing in the middle of that day room. Bro, what? Listen, I know people got a problem with higher power. I've been around this program a long time. Mm-hmm. I just did what I knew. I retreated to the guy that my mother introduced me and my brothers to. You do the right thing for the right reason. That's it. I held on to that, bro. And I did that. I did detox. I did 28-day program. I was in there for 34 days. I came out of there. I was 35 years old. The longest I had ever been sober in my adult life. And I had to make a decision. What am I going to do? And I did what I did what I heard. 90 minutes, 90 days, get a sponsor, join a home group, get active in service. And I did it. I did it. Went home, smiled at my wife, if you know what I mean, because when you ain't got all that stuff in you, boy, things tend to last a whole lot longer. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Ain't no kids in here. And I went to the 12 o'clock meeting at the clubhouse. And when they asked, was anyone new? I stood up. Now I'm like 290. I'm kicking 300 pounds, bro, because you know that green meat, that New Hope, boy, it was good for you. You ain't one of them eating it. Give it to me. I'm eating it, bro. I got my weight up. Oh, bro, I was diesel, bro. Diesel. Damn near 300 pounds. And when they stood up, I used my daddy voice. My ultimate goal was to intimidate the entire room because they all white people. You know, they all white folk. I'm gonna scare the hell out of everybody. And I got up and I used what I call my daddy voice. I said, my name is James. I'm an alcoholic and I just got out of rehab and I need a sponsor. Total silence. Total silence. Old dude in the back of the room said, sit down. At the end of the meeting. Henry L., boy. He was my sponsor for my first 16 years of my sobriety.
Wow.
Henry said things like, if you're going to drink, do it now. Don't waste my time.
Wow.
That's what I needed. I needed that real old time recovery.
I heard about that.
Yeah, bro. That's the recovery that I got. That's
I heard about that.
I use. That's the recovery that I share with my sponsees. Don't play around, bro. I got sober. I got a life. I got time. I'm busy. Time goes on. Henry was big time in the jails. He said, I got a commitment at Ocean County Jail. I said, I can't go there. He said, what you mean you can't go there? I said, bro, I'm from Lakewood. That's Hollywood vacation. I know too many people. You know, I'm working on my anonymity. He's like, you going. We went. I knew the officer going in. I knew 8 of the 9 inmates, and I knew the officer coming out. We walking across the parking lot. He said, okay, so you might know a few people. Anonymity out the block. I followed both 12-step programs the first 3 years of my sobriety because of my crack smoking. And my sponsor made me do both 12-step programs, and I did. And then one day, you know, I'm in one of the programs, and this girl relapsed again, and the guys around her are justifying it. You know, pretty girl, you know, and I'm like, no. And I called my sponsor. I was like, look, I need to come over. He said, come on over. I got to my sponsor house, man. I'm raising all kinds of saying and why they do this and why he said, shut up. He said, go in the kitchen and bring 2 chairs out here. He was sitting in the living room. I go in the kitchen, I put 2 chairs out. He said, you got all the crack cane in that chair right there. You got all the drink you want right there. Choose one. Bro, I walked away from crack at one point. Only thing different in my drinking is I went from beer to liquor because it was much, much quicker. I chose the alcohol chair. He said, from this day forward, you follow Alcoholics Anonymous 110%.
I love it.
That's what I did. That's what I do. My sober date is March 27th, 1998. My sponsor's name is Dennis R. I'm a member of the Nomads of Sobriety. I only don't have a service group, a service commitment, simply because of my cancer situation, and I'm on aftercare right now. My wife don't want me around a lot of people, so you know I gotta give it. But I do Zoom meetings. That's how I found you, man, doing these meetings. You know, because I do it online. You know, I sponsor a couple guys. That one of my newest guys got 109 days. Just left here. We just went through the second preface in the big book.
Oh, praises! I love it.
This is what I do, Mike. You know, some of us want to make it philosophical. Home group step service sponsor. Period. If I can answer all 4 of them questions, I should be doing all right. And if I ain't doing all right, I need to check myself because I'm going to wreck myself. You see, I'm one of those who, this is my first time, Mike. This is my first time. 26 years of continuous sobriety.
That's
what do I attribute it to? The 3 home groups that I've had since I've been in this program, and the 2 sponsors that I've had in the 26 years that I've been in this program. My sponsor died when I was 16 years sober. He said, your goal is to get a sponsor before I leave here. And I passed his sponsor in the hospital visiting him. I said, I need you to be my sponsor. He said, when Henry dies, I'll be your sponsor. Quick story. My mom was diagnosed with cancer. I was celebrating 6 years of sobriety. My mom just got out of hospital with pneumonia. I called my mom up and said, Mom, you don't have to come up here. Because for the first 6 years of sobriety, my entire family came back to the state of New Jersey from 90 days to 6 years. My entire family, brothers, sisters, nieces, nephews, grandmother, everybody. Everybody would land in New Jersey, come to the house. We go over to Marco Polo's over there on Shank Road, eat all you can eat, and we some eaters. Eat up all their food. You know, my sister was 6'4", 300 pounds. My sister get 2 plates of crab legs and sit right there and eat them all and go back for more. We eat up all their food, get back to the house, put on our pretty clothes, and go to the clubhouse where I was celebrating my first home group Saturday night for the first 16 years of my sobriety. My family would fill up the first 2 rows. Well, this particular year, my mom, again, she was diagnosed with cancer. She popping Oxycontin like M&Ms, you know. My daughters flanked her. I got 2 girls. My daughter sat on each side of her. My youngest looks exactly like her. When my sponsor gave me my coin, I did what I did, and my mother had my daughter stand her up. And my mother thanked that room. She said, thank you. Thank you for giving me the son that I always knew he could be. My mother died a week later, bro. My mother died a week later. And what did I do? I put my plan of action into action. I called my sponsor. Yo, my mom just died. My sponsor said, meet me at the 9 o'clock meeting. I went to the 9 o'clock meeting. He said, James's mom just died. He needs to share. He said, now go home and pack a bag. My grand sponsor called me. He said, meet me at the 12 o'clock meeting. I met him at the 12 o'clock meeting. He said, James's mom just died. He needs to share. My sponsor had called the homeboy that was living on the corner with me in the neighborhood that I was living in. My sponsor called him up, told him, take the needle out your arm. James needs somebody to go to North Carolina with him. Boy took the needle out his arm, went to North Carolina with me. When I got to my mama's house in North Carolina, there was 3 alcoholics sitting in my mama's house. 3 alcoholics sitting in my mama's house. I get in the house. They said, Dennis called us. We taking you to a meeting. Bro, I just got here. Can I go pee? You pee at the meeting. Let's go. Took me to a meeting. Handled my mom's affairs. They picked us up, took us to another meeting. Finished my mom's business. They took us to another meeting. I came back to Jersey and I shared that experience straight to home. Young girl said, my mom is dying. And she said, I want to be sober just like you, and I'm going to do just what you did. Bro, that's what it's about. That's what this is about. It's one of millions. Yeah, just today, brother. Just today. I've been talking to this guy at my job. Talking to him, you know. I'm not shy in my sobriety. Everybody I know I'm in recovery. I ain't ashamed of it. Because I wasn't ashamed of how I was when I was out there, right?
All facts.
I wasn't ashamed of how I was acting. I wasn't ashamed of being a terror. I wasn't ashamed about being a bully. So I ain't ashamed of being sober. And I'm talking to this guy. That dude just celebrated 1 year, bro.
Love
he don't
it,
go to
man.
me. Just us talking. You know, this man came to work today and gave me a card, thanking me for being there when he needed me, thanking me for just listening to him talk, thanking me for giving him the tips that we use in our program. Gave me 2 $25 gift cards, man, to Olive Garden. What? Bro, you know, I got a meal up in Olive Garden. I'm going to go, my wife. This is what we going on Saturday. This is what we going on Olive Garden. I got me 1 meal that I love in there. But this man don't even go to the program. I gave him a big book. I gave him a coin. I gave him Living Sober. This man was going out to an event He was going out to an event, a big drinking event, and he was scared. I said, listen, man, if your heart's in the right place and you don't want to drink, all you got to do is get a cup and put it in your hand. Don't put the cup down. Man comes back. He said, James, they don't give a damn. I said, surprising, ain't it? Surprise. Nobody cares if you drink or not, man.
I love it. You're right.
It's right here.
It's all facts.
Listen, if James ain't drinking, that means we all get more.
Mm-hmm.
Because if James drinking, somebody got to run to the liquor stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody got to go see the man on the block if James is drinking. But see, but that's why I believe in my heart of hearts, mind, body, spirit, bro. Mind, body, spirit. That's where this is at, man. That's where this disease settles. Until I'm willing to do different things and make different actions, I don't want to be the man that I was.
Me neither,
yeah,
brother.
I'm scared of the man I am. You see behind me, Mike? You see behind me?
Yeah, I see it.
Oh! I got it bad, boy. I got it bad. I got me into it. Lost my job due to COVID. Little brother sent me this little car. He said, go out in the front yard, check it out. I came in. He said, how you like it? I said, it's pretty cool. He said, go to YouTube. Down the black hole, bro. Look at me. Look at it. It's crazy. It's crazy. You only see the portion of it.
Well,
go ahead.
How do you handle people, places, and things?
As long as I'm in fit spiritual condition, Mike, I can go anywhere and do anything with anybody. That is not a concern for me today. That is not a concern for me.
Once you got sober, how long did it take you to feel like I'm comfortable with this now? Like I'm comfortable being sober.
You want the honest truth?
Yeah.
The first day that I didn't drink.
Wow.
That's the honest truth, Mike. That's the honest truth, bro.
Wow. I went through pause. So it was like, for me, it was like up and down, like my mood changing, my anxiety, like, just like, and you know, you heard me share the meeting with the tragedy that I went through.
Right.
It was like, I was so scared of when things were going too well that something had to be coming around that corner. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like this is too good, because like you said earlier, like I hadn't been totally sober, like not doing nothing since like 18.
Exactly.
So now I'm 44. Like I forgot who he was.
Exactly.
Like so it took me a while to actually get comfortable, man.
Mike, let me tell you this.
Go ahead, brother.
When my wife sold me out, I called my little brother. And I said, listen, man. So let's just call my job and told on me about my drinking. And I don't know what to do. You know what my little brother said? He said, just stop. And that's when it hit me, Mike. I couldn't. That's when it hit me. That's when I knew that was the cement. That was the cement in my trajectory to rehab. Because I knew I couldn't, Mike.
Man.
So that's why I brother, when I got home that first day, when I was 34 days sober, my first day, I realized, bro, I ain't drink.
Wow.
From that day forward, bro, you know, you were saying the other shoe dropping.
Yeah.
That used to be a pet peeve for me in early sobriety. Because it's good, bam. Always said like that. Man, I used to complain to my sponsor about it. He said, James, just take the good. You don't have to have the bad if you're doing the right thing. And that's what it was about for me, man. Being an example of Alcoholics Anonymous, not drinking and being the best son, brother, father, husband. As long as I was working on those things, I don't have to worry about that other shoe. And bro, I feel you, because I know where a lot of people are like that, because it's supposed to happen to me. My sponsor don't believe that.
What was your process with the steps? Did you jump right into it, or did your sponsor have you wait for a while? And what were some of the highlights that like during that process?
Yeah, my sponsor had a set rule. First, you had to call on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
How often did you drink? Every day. You call me every day. I don't
Mm-hmm.
care what time it is. You call me. We did that probably, yeah, little more than 90 days. Little more than 90 days. The only reason I remember that because 89 days sober, I was looking for black people. Where all the black people at? My grand sponsor was black. I ain't know. I told him I saw my grand sponsor at a meeting. Hot BMW, black, kids, wife. My sponsor old, Jewish, and got a raggedy car. I'm a car guy. I called my sponsor up and said, listen, man, I'm going to fire you, man, and I'm going to ask Dennis to be my sponsor. He said, really? Well, you call him up and tell him exactly what you told me and gave me the phone number. Right over my head. Man, I called Dennis up. I said, man, I'm firing Henry because he white and he Jewish and he old. And he said, shut up. He said, Henry works a phenomenal 12-step program. Matter of fact, call him back and tell him you love him. And Dennis slammed the phone in my ear. Slammed the phone in my ear. My wife was sitting across the dining room table from me. She said, what'd he say? What'd he say? I just called my sponsor. I said, man, I love you, man. I used the Budweiser commercial. I love you, man. And he laughed his ass off. I was 89 days sober. He said, you want to see black people? He took me to Asbury Park. I don't know if you ever met Angel, Hispanic dude, old school.
No, I never met him.
Sponsors rule. You get to a meeting early, you pee, you smoke, you socialize, you sit in the front of the meeting, you ask for something to read, and you participate. No cell phone, no this, no that. You in the meeting, you be in the meeting. We in the front row drinking coffee. Angel comes up to my sponsor. I was 89 days sober. He said, Henry, our commitment didn't show. Would you mind sharing? He said, James doesn't have a problem with it. What? Brother, I can't share. I got 90. He said, shut up. Said you get up there and you share your experience, strength, and hope.
Wow.
Bro, I speak in front of hundreds. That was my job. I was a presenter. I worked for the county now. I was a presenter. Bro, looking good. I got on my hot little silk short set, my little white booties, my white polo sneakers. I got up there and I shared, and it was 2 white people in that room. And I never looked above them. Room full of black folk. I'm looking for the black folk.
Wow.
I'm looking for the black folk. I never looked up from my sponsor and this other white guy. I shared my experience, strength, and hope, brother. I was wet from the underarms all the way into the pockets of my sweatpants. I could feel the sweat running down my butt. I got done. They said, keep coming.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It's definitely, it's truly definitely an experience. Now, you've been sober 26 years. 26 How years. Did you, once we get into it, I know for me, so I can't say for you. For me, once I started doing it, I wanted everybody to be sober. How did you handle like close friends and family members that you might have thought had a problem? Like, was you coming at them? Was you on chill mode? Like, how did you handle that?
Nah, bro. You remember, I worked in the field, man. I worked in the field, so
facts.
I really didn't have that. I really didn't have that issue. I did want to shout from the mountaintops in early sobriety that James is sober now. Look at me, But listen, my brothers drink. My youngest brother, he's retired cop, and brother drink Heineken like water. But see. And me explaining addiction to him, and he understands it today. Me explaining addiction to him, I said, well, see, you drink, you go to work on Monday. I drink, I might show up on Tuesday. He's like, My brother right under me is retired military. He drink every now and then. He still go to work. I really didn't have that. My wife and my daughter attended Al-Anon while I was in rehab and in aftercare. And my wife basically kept me away from her family because I was drinking with her family, and most of my drink was by myself. But I did a lot of drinking and drugging with her family, and she kept them at bay, I lived on the street where they sold dope on the corner, bro. And I used to walk to my meetings, until I heard one day you walking on the train track, the train gonna come. So I started going around, I started going around, and then, the town came in and they cleaned up the corner. But Nah, man, I really didn't have that as an issue. Again, coming from the field, and there's not really drinkers in my family. I couldn't participate with my first couple of years of our family union because we drank.
Mm.
My brothers come to visit me, man. It's a clear rule. You more than welcome to drink in my house, but you got to take it with you. My wife don't like it, but I'm okay with it. You can drink. I just don't. I'm not there.
How did you? I was just about to ask you something. I lost my train of thought. I'm looking at my notes. Talk about your podcast and what you got going on now.
Well, it's in its very early stages. That same friend that I worked for approached me about it, and he's really into African American studies. He just got his master's degree in family addiction. This is a guy, like I said, we grew up together, like 9, 10, 11 years old. His parents was the bailiff and the court clerk. His parents were the bailiff and the court clerk. That's how close we are. But no, it's really a focus, pretty much what you're doing, but he's doing a little bit more of the clinical side,
That's
we're kind of focusing on the family dynamic of addictions. We're focusing on, we're bringing people in, like I hope we can get you in, to talk about your experience training.
I'm gonna definitely be there. I sent you the date that I could do it. I'm definitely gonna be there.
Okay,
most high willing if I'm still here. Yeah, most high willing.
Just give me a date, bro, and we'll put you in. But again, people like you who are in recovery, the second part of that is, first is your experience training the hope, and the second part of that is, why'd you do Soberheadz? Let's talk about that. What is the purpose of Soberheadz? You see, that's what we're really trying to do. Again, it's we're really focusing on the family dynamic of addiction, and with all of his clinical background. Like I said, the man just got his master's in family counseling or family counseling, whatever. But I know I helped him get a couple A's. He was calling the alcoholic up, yo, hey, tell me about this, that, and the other thing. I helped him get a couple A's.
And what's the name of the podcast?
It's No Matter What.
I like that.
No Matter What. Yeah, they got a whole administrative team, and I think the breakout is supposed to be sometime in October. They're going to break it out in October, but they're going to do some promotion and all of that. But like I said, we're small, we're just getting started, but we're really trying to keep the focus and the dynamic on the family, the effects that we as addicts have on the family, and how it precipitates into the larger fold. So that's kind of like where we're going. I'm the co-host, but my host, he's been, man, this dude's been working with community, bro, township recreation. I'm talking 15, 16 years old. This man has been a part of the community. And like, that's his spirit, that's his purpose, man, is like really helping the community. So when he asked me, I was in because, I love recovery, man. I love being in recovery.
Me too, bro.
I love all aspects of recovery. I love the fellowship. I'm not too big. I don't, do the picnics and all of that, but, I got a great network. I got a great home group. I'm waiting to get through this cancer thing so I can get back involved, because, they look at me, I'm an old timer pretty much, so I'm one for traditions and concepts and warranties, and a lot of people ain't familiar with that. And our group is young, our group is young, but I
know the nomads. I know those guys. I had a couple. I had 1 or 2 of them on here.
Oh yeah, and one of our leaders, Big John, he
was on here.
He loves the fellowship part, man. And
I told him he be having. You guys have a lot of activities. Baseball games, man. Like baseball games, bowling, skating. Bro, he always sending me stuff. Most of the time,
picnicking.
Most of the time
they do it all, man. And seeing that's great because we ain't a glum lot, baby. We ain't a glum lot. people are so afraid. And, you know, again, professionally working when I worked in the field, and now that I'm on, I like to say I got both sides of the fence. But that fellowship part is what keeps people.
Indeed, because you can have fun in sobriety.
Exactly.
And by you talking, it reminded me of my last two questions. I mean, my next two questions.
Go for it.
I know when I came out, and my ex-wife, my second one that I was married to, it was a difficult adjustment on, like the book says in the chapter to the wives. I came home and I dove straight in,
right,
to the thing. And it was a friction thing, because I'm paying more attention to this thing now, and she always wanted me to be the one to get me sober, but this thing right here is getting me sober. Did you go through that kind of thing? How was the dynamic with the family when you came home?
Again, I was blessed, man. They went to Al-Anon, bro.
Yeah, that's dope.
My wife and my daughter, man, look, they black belt degree Al-Anon, bro. Look, James get a little stupid, you know. Don't make me call your sponsor. She got my sponsor number.
But you understand what I was talking about, right?
Oh yeah, bro. That's I promote Al-Anon. I promote. Yeah. I tell all my guys, listen. All you can do is offer it as a solution. Here, this is my example. If you treated my wife the way I treated my wife, I would beat you down. I might as well have taken my wife by the scruff of her neck and rubbed her face in dog poo. That's how I treated my wife. You see what I'm saying? But thank God for Al-Anon. Because in Al-Anon, she learned it ain't about him. It's about you and your baby. So my wife took responsibility. Look, first, how long you think it took me to get my checkbook back? Huh? How long you think it took me to get my checkbook back? 4 years.
Wow.
4 years before I get my checkbook back. But that was about trust. Because now she knew she lived in a house for 9 months and her husband ain't paying mortgage for 8 of those 9 months. I had to come clean with that, bro.
Speaking of that on the table. Speaking of that, how was that step 4 process, and how was that making amends process?
Making amends was I want to say challenging, but enlightening. I hadn't even started the step work, and me and my wife was in Walmart one day, and this guy walks past me, and he's reeking of alcohol. I told her, I said, I gotta go. She said, what's going on? I said, I just smell alcohol, and this. She said, let's go. Left the cart right there. Boom, we bounced. On the way out of Walmart, I saw a real good friend's girlfriend. And that real good friend I robbed. I robbed this man. And boom, it came to me like that. And I started to feel some kind of way. And I called my sponsor. I said, I need to come over. My sponsor lived right up the block, bro. 3 blocks from my house. My sponsor lived right up the street. I keep it all close. Told my sponsor what was going on. He said, call him up and make an amends. I said, but I ain't do no step work. He said, call him up and make an amends, and make him amends that you can afford, and make sure you talk to your wife first. I talked to my wife. She said, do what you got to do. I called this brother up, met him at his job during lunch, told him, listen, man, I robbed you. You know I robbed you. What do I got to do to make it better? I said, I'm in the 12-step program now, and I got to make things right. All I want you to do is be the friend you've always been.
Oh, praises, man.
Bro, praises, you know what that did for me on the 4th step? Bro, I was ready to put my liver on the table. I was ready to give it all up because of that one experience. Bro, this was a guy who my mother allowed move in our house because his mom moved out. Left him by himself. He was like a brother to me. And I robbed this dude, stole the rent money, cracked it up, drank it up. He knew I did it. I never fessed to it. But when I made that amends, bro, it was from the heart. And that experience, it set me on fire, bro.
I understand.
I got to do this step work, man. I got to do it now. I'll never forget. I was at St. Peter's one night, and my mind is racing. You know that early sobriety, bro.
Yeah.
I got to do that. I got to do this. That. Mine was racing uncontrollably. And Brooklyn Joey, he sounds just like from out of Brooklyn, swagger and all. Brooklyn Joey, white, foxy hair, Italian brother, suave, And I rolled up on Joey. I said, Joey, my mind racing like a clock, man. What do I got to do? He said, do the steps. Stop playing around. I went to my sponsor the next day. I said, let's do it. Let's do it. With that experience and Brooklyn Joey telling me to do that work, that was God talking to me, boy. That was God talking to me. Said,
how long you had before you did it? Like, how long was you sober before you actually did it?
I was probably under 150 days.
That's good. That's good.
I was early, man. I was probably, like I said, I did that in Asbury. I was 89 days sober. I was probably 100 plus days sober, and my sponsor got me into it.
That's good, because I know with me, I was blessed the fact that the rehab I was in, it was like PHP style, so we was allowed to go out to our own meetings.
Oh, wow.
After class. After we do clinical in the morning, you could go, you just had a curfew. You could go out and do whatever. You know what I mean? And I got with a back to basic group.
Ooh, perfect.
Yeah, and I was desperate. So I was willing to do whatever they tell me, my sponsor tell me to do. You get what I'm saying? Like, and I always say that if I would have had 6 months to a year already under my belt, I don't know if I would have been vigorous in doing it. And I don't know if I would have told everything on that 4th and 5th. Well, I don't know if I would have been if I had a year sober. I don't know if I would have spit out everything, because I would have told myself I got a year sober. Like,
you know the truth, bro. Now I got some things back. I got a couple of dollars in my pocket. It wasn't that bad.
Exactly.
You know that truth, bro. You know that.
Because
you wouldn't have did it.
Because my 4th step experience was one of the most eye-opening things that I ever encountered, because I could rationalize any behavior in my head. But when I saw myself in black and white on the paper, I couldn't lie no more.
Did you see yourself on paper, and did your sponsor have you come up with the subtitles of what you was?
No. The way we did it, we had the way we did it, we had the columns, we had the 4 sheets.
Yeah, but did you total them up to have the word?
We had the I had the sex inventory sheet. I had the and a couple of my sheets was like 3 and 4 sheets. I ain't just had one for each one. I had like 3 or 4. I had to write on the back of a couple. And what I noticed was, one, I didn't realize how terrible my actions was until I saw them. But I really got to see a pattern. You get what I'm saying? So then when you get to that column, when you get to the column and you know that like, so you write the what's them quotation marks, and when you're trying to repeat something, what you put in the other box when you just gonna repeat the same thing? You put like 2 quotation marks, and what you put parentheses?
Right. Just duplicating it. Yeah, duplicating it. Hey.
When your boxes on the side of the arms is mad duplicating joints. That's bad, bro. That's bad, bro.
Yeah,
that's bad. And then, but what it also helped me do was, when I got to making the amends, and people I had resentments to, it helped me forgive them because I saw who I was. You get what I'm saying? Like once I saw how I was, I couldn't hold people to the fire like I thought I could before, because everything was their fault before.
Of course.
You know what I mean? So that was the and that was the and this question I got, and we can wrap up after this one
Okay.
because this is something that I don't think I asked somebody this. I might have asked Stephanie this question when she was on here. In our community, why is the attendance so low at the meetings that me and you go to?
Because we revert back to what we know. A lot of the people on our podcast, church. It's what we know, bro. Think about it. Think about it. When I first got sober, they were creating the pamphlet, The Black African American. And I had a problem with that. Why is there a pamphlet for the Black African American? You know what I'm saying? Why? Well, we're trying to get attendance up. It's not going to happen. Most black people go to what we know. And I tell them all the time, because people ask me all the time, where the black folks? I said, in church. I said, if they give church the same 110% that I give Alcoholics Anonymous, they're going to be just as clean and sober as me. The only concern I have with that is what happened when the alcohol kick in. Can we talk about that? Can we go to the Bible and work that out? This is what I'm talking about in our podcast, because a lot of the people that we're dealing with, they're now deacons, pastors, preachers. But what did they do? They gave 110 to the church. Think about it.
True, but culturally, I also think that we normalized alcoholism so much in our community. Like it's like the amount that me and my friends used to be drinking and was an alcoholic amount, but we just said that we was getting it in last night. You get what I'm saying? Like it's so normal that it's normal to have the uncle at the cookout and he drinking and he got an issue and nobody really pressing the issue. It's so normalized that we don't really feel like it needs to be pressed. And then when they walk into the meetings, probably they'd be intimidated by seeing like they the only one in there, and then that's another excuse to be like, I ain't never doing this again. But I really wanted to get your input on that, like because most of the meetings I go to, I be the only one in there.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I'm there for the same reason you there for, bro. I'm trying to get to live happy, joyous, and free. And that's okay. See, because once we get some, I love when people say time don't mean nothing. You know what my response to that is? Get some. And I'm not just talking time, I'm talking about quality time. Get some. See, you don't know what you don't know. And my opinion on why we ain't there is because what we know is church. You heard me say it.
That's it. I never thought about that point. That's an excellent point. That's an excellent point.
About it. And who are some of your best preachers? People in recovery. People in recovery. Why? Because they have the devil's experience, bro. They got the devil's experience.
Facts.
They know what they have to do. See, like I got to focus on the 12 steps. They got to focus on the Bible.
See, I got both. I do both.
You know our book got Bible stuff in it.
Yeah, I do.
Bible stuff in it. Our book has religious connotations in it. Our book has religious benefactors in it. Our history has religious benefactors in it. You know, I say I'm doing God's work from the back door. You see, that's what I say. And a lot of people tell me, no, man, you're doing God's work from the front door. You working with people, you trying to help people get clean and sober. You trying to get them to see the better life. And yeah, I can agree to somewhat to what you said because it's the norm. When I worked in the school system, I remember a kid telling me, because he was a little roughneck, I remember a kid telling me they treat me like this because I live in the Congress. I said, son, I grew up in the Congress. And now I'm here teaching you to be better and do better. What's your excuse now? You don't know what you don't know.
Indeed, man.
And that's where a lot of our people get wrong because, again, to some extent, it's normalized.
Mm-hmm.
It's acceptable behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when is acceptable behavior unacceptable? When
Mm-hmm.
somebody say no.
Mm-hmm.
Then what happened? Family breakup,
Mm-hmm.
divorce. Look at the divorce rate in these 12-step programs today. Why is most of it? My opinion, is people found out who they are, who they really are.
100%, 100%, 100%. When you was married all of them years, you was an alcoholic. You ain't really know who you were, and you ain't know who you were with.
Bro, I'm married 32 years. I told my wife's parents live right across the street. I told her, I'm putting you out and you going across the street. She said, I ain't going nowhere. Because now she reaping the benefits of this sobriety.
Oh, praises.
My daughter's reaping the benefits of this sobriety. See, we don't know what we don't know. Until we see something different. That's why I tell my guys all the time, today you're the example. You see, my sponsor made me go to my hometown and go to that other 12-step meeting so they could see. James did it? Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Not that fool. Bro, I went to my class reunion. Folks look at me like I'm crazy. I was supposed to be dead 30 years ago, man.
Oh, praises to the Most High.
What? I was supposed to be dead 30 years ago.
All praise to the Most High, brother. Like we gonna close it down now, man. And I want to thank you, bro, for coming on. I can't wait to come on your podcast and share my experience, strength, and hope. This been a joy, man. And I'm gonna have me and my wife gonna pray for you with that other situation you got going on, man, to make sure that you're good. We're gonna definitely pray for you tonight. And thanks for coming on, brother, man. Tell your wife and them I said hi, and thanks for allowing us to have an hour of your time, brother. And
no problem. If I can, I will, brother, every time.
Indeed, man. And I look forward to seeing you on the circuit because you're going to be back out there, brother.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to be out there. I get out there sporadically, trying to, keep
indeed.
Get to my home group on the weekend.
All right, brother, man. Thanks for coming on, James.
Peace, Mike.
All right, thanks, brother. Another great episode, man. By all praises to the Most High for allowing us to have this episode, man. That's a real powerful brother, James. And tune in next week. We got a couple more guests coming on. And this is Mike. Enjoy the rest of your night. Shalom. Thanks, brother, man. I really appreciate it, brother.
Thank you, man. Thank you. So now how does this work?